Okay, so this is the full CRU story. And to get the preliminaries out of the way, this honestly has nothing to do with my experiences with CRU as a student. This is simply a fictional story that I wrote. And this is the story of that story and how it came to be and the different reactions to it. And ultimately, it's about a story that just was never meant to be. Um, I've been thinking about it a lot recently, and I've wanted to analyze why it didn't go. And I don't know. I don't know. So maybe by the time I finish this long journey of analysis of this one story I wrote about 5 years ago, maybe I'll figure it out. I don't know. But for now, let's just go back to the very beginning. Okay. So this is how it started. After CRU was over, um, I'm a sophomore. I'm a sophomore in college. CRU ends. This guy comes up. Someone who's not involved with the movement at all. Someone who isn't in college either. A little bit older. And he comes by and he says, "We want to do a promo video for CRU because we love CRU." And blah 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 blah. I can't recall exactly what was said. And my initial thought, quite honestly, was, I'm kinda interested, but I looked at my to-do list for homework and I was like, no, that is not happening. And so, yeah, it was kind of like, well, that's that. CRU ends, we all step out. And like, no joke, I got about 5 to 7 people coming up. I can't remember the exact number, but it was a large amount of people. 5 to 7 is a lot of people in my mind, who came up and asked me to do a spin on it, to pitch something for it. What they said for the promo video was, we are open to any idea that you throw out there, so send a pitch, we'll have a meeting soon. We don't know when yet, so just kind of listen for it. And I said, okay, all right. I got 5 to 7 people that came up to me and said, this is right up your alley. We really want you to do this. And I didn't want to do it. I was like, oh, but I had so many people coming up to me that was like, well, maybe I'm supposed to do this. And so I said, okay. So it was either that weekend or the following weekend. It was a Sunday. I'm pretty certain. I typed this thing out within an afternoon, basically. It was about 7 pages, single spaced, and it was all dialogue. That was it. It took place in different scenarios. The basic idea when I was stepping into writing this was I wanted to do the antithesis, which I don't say well, of what everyone else is doing. I want it to be real and to be, quite frankly, brutally honest. Because my whole thought process through writing this was, if I'm someone who is not the average person who would go to CRU anyways, what would make me want to go? And I didn't want to do one of those corny videos where it's 4 different people from like different backgrounds who all meet up at CRU and, oh yeah, CRU's family and all of that, all of that BS that everybody hates but they think people love. Yeah, I wanted to go exactly against that. But I wanted to be honest, because I had run into experiences even then where people had told me about times that individuals involved with CRU had screwed them over. And that wasn't right. And it was okay for them to be angry about that and wanted to pay attention to these things. So some of these things actually made it into the story. For example, there's a moment when Maddie, our main character, says, they tried to brainwash me. They said that I would go to hell if I didn't go to a particular church associated with it. That was based off of a real story that I was told. And I was stunned and angry, and I asked who told you that, and she didn't say, which was proper. I probably shouldn't have asked that, but that ended up making it into the story. Maddie, our main character, was named after a close family friend's dog who had just passed away, tragically young, very tragically young. And so Maddie became this strong, and Maddie was a girl dog as well. Maddie was this strong female character, and to this day, I believe Maddie is the best female character I've ever written. She's very interesting and just in your face. And River and Evergreen were just names that I liked. In fact, if I ever have kids, I don't think I will. But if I did, that would be what I would want to name the kids. River for a boy, Evergreen for a girl. Someone told me one time that was very Native American of me. Yeah. So, anyways, I write this all out, and the basic structure of the story is this girl hates CRU. She doesn't want anything to do with it, and she badmouths it. And then her roommate, who used to be dating this one guy who broke off the relationship to get more involved in CRU, she ends up dying. And the rest of the story becomes about her and his response to the death. And what happens is she doesn't want to live anymore, so she attempts suicide. But she ends up living, and he just deals with it by joking around. And the story ends with him proposing, "This is why you should go to CRU." Now, this was the crux. This was the whole point of the promo piece that I was promoting, was getting to this scene. And then she walks into the building and walks into the meeting, and we don't know how she responds to it. Anyways, I ended up telling some preliminary ideas to this girl, first names only, who was involved in the movement, Ariel. And she had said, extremely wisely, very wisely so, she said, "It sounds like you're saying that CRU is the answer to happiness." And I went, "Oh no, I don't want to promote that message." Or maybe I was mature and I said, "Yeah, I believe that. I don't remember." But I listened to her, and that becomes a question that Maddie directly asks River. She says, "So are you insinuating that CRU is the answer to happiness?" And he says, "No, not at all." And then he goes off about how he feels like crap and this stuff. Anyway, it's very blunt, very bold, extremely honest. I send it off. I was not able to be at that meeting. I don't know what happened. I forget there was some legitimate reason why I wasn't able to be there, but I just wasn't at that meeting. So, maybe I was filming or attempting to film something that day. That might have happened. No, that would have been junior year. Yeah, I don't fully remember. There was some reason I wasn't there. So, they pitch it, and I hear back from them. We read it, and we decided that we wanted to go a different way. And me being the younger, much more immature, believe this was within my first year of walking with God, by the way. I wasn't even a full year of walking with God at this point in time. And they said, we want to do 4 different people from different backgrounds, and they all connect up at CRU. And I went, oh no. It was like the exact thing that I was trying so hard to go against, and to be real and honest, and something that I know I would have watched. And this was something that was so indifferent, so unimaginative. It's just, quite frankly, pardon my cursing, it was bullshit. It was just this awful idea. And this was the idea that they wanted to go with. And it was like, oh. And they said, but we would really like you to help out with this. And I said, no, I can't do that. Because I just could not put any passion into it. Because I don't know, but my assumptions were, I know for me it wouldn't have worked. And I base a lot of the stories I tell, if before I was walking with God, I would not have responded to it, then I don't want to do it. I just don't want to. It wouldn't have worked. Anyway, circumstantially, that promo video never got made. And ultimately, I think it was a good thing because I hated that idea. But my version of it kind of was in limbo at that point in time. So anyways, there was one guy, I think he was still a student at the time, heavily involved with CRU. He's now a staff member, by the way. He read it, and he just flipped out for it. He thought it was like the greatest thing since Titanic. Just floored. Which I thought it was great, obviously, because I wrote it, and everyone thinks that what they do is great. I didn't realize anyone would have that strong of a reaction to it, especially for something that didn't take long at all, and something that I had no intention of doing from the get-go. He flipped out for it, and he told a lot of people to read that. And so then Adam started reading it, and then I read it to Steve, and I can't remember if Brandon read it or not, but he might have. And then this lovely sister of mine, Megan, read it, and she flipped out for it too. And it just, honestly, it took off. It was one of the weirdest experiences for me, was that a lot of people ended up reading that. And everyone who read it, except for one person that I know of, really responded to it at the time. What ended up happening was Josh, again, first name only, he was kind of floored that this one guy loved it so much, and so this guy was kind of saying, you all need to read this, and so Josh was like, fine, because Josh, to be perfectly honest, just doesn't want to read stuff I write, which is lovely. I mean, it is one of the greatest gifts that he gives me in our brotherhood together, is that he only cares about me. He doesn't care about my work. But I also have people who completely support my work, and that's the primary thing that they see. And so it's kind of like I have both, the best of both worlds, essentially. And he reads it, and he says, I think this would be better as a blog. And he didn't flip out for it. He, I think, was indifferent about it. He said, this could be really cool if I write this out and journey with it and see her eventually coming to faith. Maybe someone walks away and maybe they come back to faith, and you just follow them for like years and years and years. And I just didn't want to do that. What was interesting, Megan was very instrumental in the CRU story. I don't know if she realizes how instrumental she was. Megan kept on asking me about. She kept on saying, "I want to know how she reacted. I want to know how she reacted to the meeting." And well, we'll continue the rest of the story another time. We'll leave the journey to the second part to be continued.